Hello and welcome to Bruce's Shorts. I'm Bruce Devlin, and today we're going to ask, how do you QC IMF? Well, what is QC? It stands for quality control, and quality control is a business process. And you mustn't lose track of that. It's not really technical, it's all about business, and what you're trying to do is mitigate against risk. So you do QC to prevent risks. Risks of what? Risks of not being specification compliant, risks of your IMF not being decodable sometime in the future, and risks of your IMF maybe behaving a bit strangely. So how do you QC something as ephemeral as IMF? Well, you could take the transportation media. Here's my 1 terabyte drive. It's amazing how tiny these things are nowadays. And you could look at it very, very closely. And you know what? I learn absolutely nothing about the IMF that's inside it. So how do you look at IMF? Well, as we know, there's lots of XML in IMF. All of the key components of IMF are represented by XML files, and those XML files have schemas. So you can check the XML using a schema validator to check that the XML is well formed and meets precisely what you're expecting from the specifications. Likewise, the MXF files should meet precisely the constrained MXF that's been specified in the IMF constraints and the applications. For example, application 2 is JPEG 2000, application 3 is Studio Profile MP4. But there's more than that. You can also do sanity checks. You've got to check, for example, that all the rules are met, that all the segments are the right length, and that if you've got, for example, a 10-second file, that the file sizes are about right. And once you've done all those sanity checks, you can then start going to the low-level checks and checking whether or not, for example, the headers in your JPEG 2000 meet all the broadcast profile constraints. The important thing is to know what you're checking, why you're checking for it, and to check appropriately, and it's a business process. If you want more details, why not take the SMPTE IMF course? If you just want an overview, keep watching Bruce's Shorts. Thanks for watching.